Good morning, students. Today we will discuss inverse function theorem. This theorem states that if we have a function w which is given by f of z, this function is analytic at a point z is equal to z naught, where the derivative of function f at z naught is non-zero, and also the value of this function f at the point z naught, this is w naught, then we are to prove that there exists a neighborhood of the point w naught in which the function w has a unique inverse, which is given by z is equal to capital F of w, where this capital F is the inverse of the function small f, and also this function f is analytic and single valued in the neighborhood G, and the value of this function at w naught, that is z naught, and the derivative of this function is equal to reciprocal of derivative of the function small f. In order to prove the theorem, because we are given that w naught is f of z naught and derivative of function f at the point z naught is non-zero, let us define a function phi which is given by f of z minus w naught. Now for z is equal to z naught, here this function gives the value f of z naught minus w naught. F of z naught, that is w naught, so w naught minus w naught, that will be 0. So the value of function phi at the point z naught, that is 0. And also from here the derivative of function phi, that will be given by the derivative of function f, and because the derivative of function f at the point z naught, that is non-zero, it means the function f is not a constant function, and therefore we can say that this function phi is non-zero function, and also the derivative of function f, that is non-zero. Now because the function f is analytic at z is equal to z naught, so this function phi, that is also analytic in the neighborhood of z naught. Now because zeros are isolated, so we can say that the function phi and f dash z, they don't have any zeros in some deleted neighborhood of z naught. So by definition we can say that for given epsilon greater than 0, we have a neighborhood z minus z naught mod less than epsilon, such that the function is analytic and non-zero. Also f dash z is non-zero. Now let us define a domain D consisting of all those points z for which z minus z naught mod is less than epsilon. This D represents an open disk, and let us take C is the boundary of this disk. Now because function phi is non-zero for every point z such that z minus z naught mod is less than or equal to epsilon, so by minimum modulus principle, phi of z mod attains its minimum value m on the circle C. Now let us take delta be a positive number which is less than m. Now we will prove that this function f assumes exactly once every value w1 in the open disk consisting of all those points w such that w minus w naught mod is less than delta. In order to prove this, we will use Roche's theorem, and we will apply this theorem to the functions phi and the function w minus w1. Now because w naught minus w1 mod, that is less than delta, and delta is less than m is the minimum value of phi of z mod, where z belongs to C. So this will be less than or equal to phi of z mod. Now w naught minus w1 mod, that is less than phi of z mod from here. So we can say that w naught minus w1 mod upon phi of z mod, that is less than 1 on the circle C. Now we can apply Roche's theorem. According to Roche's theorem, if we have two analytic functions f and g inside and on a simple closed curve C, and the mod of g is less than mod of f on the circle C, then the function f and the function f plus g, they have same number of zeros inside C. Here our functions are w naught minus wn and the function phi, and this condition is satisfied by the functions. So by Roche's theorem, the function phi and the function phi plus w naught minus w1, they will have same number of zeros in the disk D. Now the function phi of z plus w naught minus w1, that is actually the function f of z minus w1. So we can say that the function phi and the function f of z minus w1, they have same number of zeros in the disk D. But we already discussed the function phi that has only one zero z naught in the disk D, because phi of z naught is 0. So we can say that this function f of z minus w1, that also has only one zero z1 in the disk D. It means we can say that the function f assumes w1 value exactly once in the domain T. So we can say that the function w is equal to f of z as a unique inverse, and suppose it is denoted by capital F. So we can say that z is equal to f of w in the domain D. Now it remains to prove that this function f is analytic function. In order to prove that f is analytic, we show that the derivative of this function exists in the neighborhood of point w naught. So let us consider f of w minus f of w1 upon w minus w1. F of w, that is z, f of w1 is z1, w is f of z, w1 is f of z1. Now this can be written as the inverse of the function f of z minus f of z1 upon z minus z1. Now as z approaches to z1, this expression will become the derivative of function small f at the point z1. So this whole expression will become f dash z1 whole inverse. So from here we have obtained the derivative of capital F at w1. This is the reciprocal of the derivative of function small f at the point z1. So this implies that the derivative of the function capital F exists in the neighborhood of point w naught. So this proves that the function f is analytic, and this completes the proof of inverse function theorem.